So today I'm going to take you through all of my anthuriums from the first in my collection to the most recent one that I've gotten. Anthuriums have some of the most striking leaves in all of houseplants, and that is really what drew me towards them at first. But once I started owning them and seeing how they grow and all of the new leaves, and it's just so exciting, it has quickly become one of my very, very favorite genuses. They come from parts of Mexico and South America, and it makes sense with the type of care that they need. It is a very tropical plant, so it needs lots of humidity, which has definitely been a struggle living in Tucson, Arizona. The reason that I waited so long to get these plants was because I was worried that I wouldn't be able to keep them just because of their humidity requirements. But I will share with you along the way in this video how I have been able to keep these sorts of plants in Tucson, Arizona, one of the driest climates in the world, dare I say. It's usually around 15% or less humidity on a regular basis, but in my house it gets up to 90% in some places. So I will definitely show you how I'm able to achieve that, and let's get started with the plants. So this is my very first anthurium ever. It is an Anthurium viticii. These leaves are very big. I will do a head test for all of these. We'll do a Kaleon head test. You can see back here we have a new shiny, beautiful leaf. So I acquired this plant in October of 2019, so really not that long ago, and that is really when my anthurium craze started. So what this specific plant is known for, the viticii, is these ripples here and the long leaf. This plant was not imported from another country. I did buy it from a local friend, so I didn't really experience any sort of import problems with it. Sometimes when you import a plant, it ends up as a stump, and I will definitely show you one of my stumps. It has very long stems here, and it has a tendency to kind of splay outwards, which is something that anthuriums tend to do. I particularly don't like the way that that looks a lot of the time because it takes up more space, and that's not something that I have a lot of. So what I have done is secured all of the stems together so that they stand up straight, and I just think that that looks a lot better anyway. And eventually it would be really nice if all of these leaves could just like sit next to each other like this. Sometimes I see people's anthuriums like that, where they all of the leaves point in one direction. For some reason, my plants just don't do that very often, and I don't know why. All right, so my next anthurium is Anthurium baluanum. I don't exactly know if that's how you pronounce the word, but I will have all of these names on the screen, and this is what they look like. So let me just show you out here. So you can see that it is one of those anthuriums that splays itself out, and at the point that I got this plant, it had 3 leaves on it, and one of those leaves has died off since this new one has come about. So basically, this plant, it seems like it's going to be one where it grows a new leaf and then gets rid of another one. I hope that that doesn't continue, but that is what happened with this new leaf. As soon as that older leaf that was dying off was trimmed off, this grew so fast, and it was actually taking a while to get bigger and bigger, so I was a little bit concerned, but as soon as I chopped off that old leaf, it just exploded. So that's really good news. This is the most mature leaf on the plant. You can see that it has this really, really wide top here. There's actually a name for a lot of the things that I'm pointing out, and I need to do more research on all of those things, and I am planning to do that for a video. So eventually I will have a sort of plant dictionary video where I explain the anatomy of a plant and all of the names that go along with them. So 3 cheers in the comments if you're excited for that. Anyway, this plant is known for just having a nice long leaf and this wide top up here. This is the leaf that was actually coming in when it was shipped to me, so there is some damage. You can see this bottom part just is non-existent, but this new leaf looks absolutely perfect, so I'm very excited to see that. This has been an incredibly easy plant to take care of. Actually, a lot of my anthuriums I haven't had really that many issues with because a lot of them live in 60% humidity or higher. Some of them actually live in 90% humidity, and in those situations where they're in that like extreme humidity in a greenhouse, they put out leaves like crazy, which is really exciting. These are humidity lovers, I can't deny that, but you can supplement humidity in a lot of ways with humidifiers or watering more often or pebble trays perhaps. There are a lot of things that you can do to help out your plants in that respect, and they will reward you greatly. Look how beautiful. Okay, so the next anthurium in my collection is my smallest anthurium. Oh, actually no, I have one smaller. This is an Anthurium crystallinum, and it is very, very, very cute. I actually was not expecting to get this plant. It was a little free gift when I ordered this one from my friend Oscar at Plant That Plant. from Sweden. So this leaf right here, I think that it's showing me that it is a little bit thirsty. It kind of has a tendency to get a little bit curly when it's thirsty, and it's in this very, very tiny 2-inch pot, which is very cute. I could never find any plant to put in it, but it is this very gorgeous pot that I got from a local nursery. This is a very, very small specimen, and it hasn't put out a new leaf yet. It put out this one like basically right when I got it. It was like coming up. So I'm expecting it to be just a little while before it puts out wait a minute. It's putting out a new leaf right now. Let's see if we can get this on camera. Can you see? Yes, right there. Can you see that little spike on my palm? That is a new leaf. Oh my goodness, that's really exciting. So I actually put this in my greenhouse. It has really high humidity. So I think that is honestly why this is happening, which is really, really exciting. This is my very, very large Anthurium ClarinErbium. It has recently put out this leaf. And this leaf as a baby is already bigger than the other plant's adult leaves, which is so insane to me. It makes sense, obviously all the other leaves are huge too, so it's just following along. The veining on this bigger one just seems so much more intricate, and maybe that's because it is a bigger plant, so you can see it a lot easier. I actually unboxed this plant on my channel not too long ago, and my reaction was absolutely ridiculous, but I was so excited about it because it is massive, it is beautiful, and it traveled all the way from Sweden and only had one leaf casualty. Wow. So the stalk is huge, the pot is huge, and I'm just really excited about this plant. I'm always excited about it, and I'm even more excited now that it has this huge, beautiful new leaf. I cannot. I just want to like envelop myself in ClarinErbium because it's so pretty. Okay, so the next couple of Anthuriums are going to be coming from Green Spaces ID, which is a place that I've done an unboxing with before, and I actually got another order from them very recently, and I'll be showing you those plants as well. So this is my first plant from them. It is an Anthurium doriaki. I wanted to show you these leaves. Look at how gorgeous that color is. This is a plant that had probably 4 leaves on it when I got it, and 2 of them fell off, and these are the ones that remained. And now, very excitingly so, we have 2 leaves that came in almost as twins. So this first one came in, you can see down here, it kind of is like a branch, like an off branch of the actual plant. And then this leaf came in as just another along this stalk here. So very, very exciting. You can see that the new leaf has this beautiful coppery color, and it is actually starting out really, really tiny, which is something that Anthuriums do. Their leaves will start out very tiny and then slowly get bigger and bigger, and it is the coolest thing to see them do that. I'm so confused as to how that happens. It's absolutely crazy to me that the leaves can like come out and then keep growing on top of that. It's just crazy. I did record myself repotting this plant, so if you are interested in the soil mixture I'm using, I will have it linked up in the cards somewhere up here so that you know. I definitely would still stand by this soil mixture. Since this one though, I have tried out other mixtures and they don't seem to be super opposed to really a lot of my different mixtures. I have like a general aeroid mixer and I use that for one of them and it did just fine. But with these plants, I was trying to use not as much soil as usual because I knew that these plants would stay wet for longer and I wanted to avoid fungus gnat problems, which still found us in the end. So it didn't really work, but in any case, soil mixture linked up in the cards and in the description box below. All right, so the next Anthurium in my collection is this Anthurium Ace of Spades. So this is one of those plants that when I opened it, I was like, I think that'll be prettier as it matures. So I've seen Ace of Spades before, and I don't know if I have the light form or if there even is a dark form, but I just noticed that mine looks different from other people's. But something that is really interesting about this plant is you can see here these top lobes just sort of overlap. They are so close together that it almost looks like a forgetii. And let me show you the back. You can see that they are overlapping right there. So really, really cool plant structurally, and it's very, very soft. All Anthuriums are just extremely soft, probably with the exception of the Viticii, because that one feels more like a Monstera leaf. But this one is very, very velvety and soft, and it hasn't really shown me much since I got it. So this is the plant that probably struggled the most out of every plant that I unboxed from Green Spaces. However, I put it in my greenhouse where it is now getting like 90% humidity on the regular, and we are starting to see a little bit of activity at the top there. So you can see right here, that is where a new leaf is going to come out. I'm very interested to see what the new leaf looks like. If I don't like the new leaf, I might not hold on to this one because it just doesn't thrill me too much, but we will see. Something that is very interesting about this plant is you can see back here, the plant has a sort of border along the back of the leaf that is a darker color, which is interesting. I've never seen that before. Okay, so the next plant is this Anthurium ClarinErbium, which rhymes, and that is so much fun to say. So this plant is probably the most iconic Anthurium out there. I think a lot of people have this one before they have others because it is probably the most accessible, other than like the one that's like extremely accessible. So you can see that it has just the most beautiful veining, and something that is very striking about this plant is really like the perfect heart shape it has. And additionally, it is extremely soft. All good things to say about this plant. It has been a little bit difficult for me to care for. As you can see, we've gone through some stuff. You know, you can see this leaf, it's not looking so good. And then this leaf, I actually just cut off half of it. And with this plant, I have tried really, really hard to preserve the leaves as long as possible, even if it seemed like they weren't super healthy, because I wanted the plant to have as many leaves as possible to draw nutrients from the light or whatever it may be, so that it could produce a new leaf eventually. And you can see, I don't know if you actually can see, that little spot right there, we are seeing a new leaf. And I'm really, really excited about that. I haven't seen any activity on this plant since I got it in November. So it has taken a little bit of time for these plants to acclimate, and that is super, super normal, especially when you are importing plants from out of the country. And even when you don't import plants from out of the country and they're just being sent to you in the mail, there is still going to be a period of adjustment. So I'm sure that we're all familiar with that, so I won't rattle on too long about that, but this is definitely a really wonderful plant, and it looks like it's in a pot that's way too big for it, but the root system on this plant was like seriously chunky, and I didn't want to trim it because it needs it. So it is in a very large pot and it seems to be doing just fine. So I'm excited to see this new leaf, and I will keep you updated on how that goes. All right, so the next Anthurium in my collection is this Anthurium magnificum, and this is actually another plant from Green Spaces. I said earlier that I placed another order, and this is from that. So it has 2 leaves, and these leaves are like really big, and these leaves from on the magnificum will get huge, and that is the reason why I was so excited about it. They will get like, I think, rounder and just like huge. Okay, so as I'm looking at the back, I can see that it also has a little bit of a dark lining. I wonder if more of these plants have that and I just don't notice it, but that is something that is pretty striking about this plant, and it just is so beautiful. The veining on these plants, it's beautiful. I can't handle it. And it is potted up in this clear orchid pot like a lot of my other Anthurium, and this one is in a little bit of a different soil mixture. It doesn't have any sphagnum moss, and that is because honestly I forgot to put sphagnum moss in it, and it has slightly more soil than the other ones, but it is still made up of perlite pumice and cocoa coir and just a little bit of cactus soil. So it seems to be pretty happy in that. And it's also had a really, really nice transition into my home. Again, with it being recently imported, I'm not expecting it to have growth for at least a few months, but if it did, you know, before that, that would be amazing, because I'm very interested to see what these baby leaves look like. It does look like there could be someone stirring up some trouble down here, like around this region, or it also looks like that could be promising right there. I'm always shocked with how well Anthuriums can travel. It just is one of those plants that I expected to do really bad, but they actually travel better than a lot of other plants, so we're gonna side-eye everybody else. Okay, so this is one of my very, very tiny Anthuriums. It is one that I wanted for a very long time, and for some reason I could not find it anywhere, but a lot of other people were finding it. So I was like, what the heck, you guys? So I ended up buying 2 of them from 2 different places. So this is an Anthurium forgetii, and this one is very special because it doesn't have any lobes. It is just a perfect oval on top. So it has this very interesting shape. And I really, really love this plant. I think it's so cute, especially when it is older. It is very beautiful, and I do have one that's a little bit older, but this one is also from Green Spaces, and I'm just very interested to see how it goes. I actually would like to move it from this pot to one of these because I have another one. Okay, so my other Anthurium forgetii is this one right here, and this one is a better representation of what these leaves look like when they are bigger. This specific plant doesn't actually have like super rad veining like I would want, but something that I've noticed is Anthuriums, even if they both have like the same parent plant, they can look so different plant to plant, which is really, really interesting. And there's probably like hundreds of different types of hybrids of Anthurium because I think that they're pretty easy to cross with each other. So I am interested in looking into hybrids eventually. There is a YouTube channel, The Plants Meow, who has really gotten me into Anthuriums. So if you like Anthurium content, I've shouted her out probably like 8 times. Like, she probably is so irritated at this point, but I love her channel and I love the information that she offers. And oh, I actually just bought an Anthurium from her and it should be arriving in the mail maybe next Wednesday. So it won't make it in this video, but in a future video, I will definitely be showing you guys. Have I told you where I got this one? I don't think I have. So I got this one from a Facebook group, which is a nursery, but they sell their plants via a Facebook group. And this is honestly one of my favorite places to peruse and browse for plants. And basically what you do is they have a list of plants that are available and you send them a message through a Google form and then they invoice you and send it. So it's a really great situation. I really have had a wonderful experience with them and this is one of the plants from them. I have another plant from them, which is this one. So this is an Anthurium Rigali. I said that weird. Rigali. I don't know. I sound really, really, really American when I say that. It is a stump because Mama messed up. And Mama isn't me. I messed up, okay? So what happened is one day, it was beautiful. It looked really, really nice. I'll put a photo right over here so that you can see what it used to look like. This is a plant that was on my wish list for a very long time. And once I finally found one it was expensive, but yeah, I found one, okay? I just didn't think that I needed to water it as soon as I got it. I was trying to let it acclimate, you know? I was trying to let it just get used to things. And I figured that the humidity was high enough that it wouldn't be sucking all of the life out of the leaves, but that did not happen. So one day it was fine, literally fine. The next day I walk into the bathroom, it is shriveled up and crunchy. How? I have no idea. I was shook. So basically the plant dried out too much and it took all of the water from its leaves. And something that's really great about Anthuriums is they are relatively forgiving and you can grow them again from a stump. So we are back in stump form, but I am confident that something will come out of this. She's gonna do something great. So I'm excited to share this journey along with you and just know that if you have Anthuriums and you end up with a stump, it's totally fine. They will regrow and you should not feel bad about it because this happens. You know, we are taking care of this plant that has no business living in Tucson, Arizona, or wherever you live. It makes sense that this would happen eventually, at least once, you know? Okay, so now that I've shown you my collection, there's really only one Anthurium that is on my wish list, or just really one that I'm trying to keep an eye out for a good deal on, and that would be the Anthurium warocqueanum, or the warrock. You know, people say a lot of different things, but it is the queen Anthurium. And if you didn't know, the king Anthurium is the Anthurium viticii, which I have. I'm shocked. I was so excited when I found out that this one is nicknamed the king. I was like, okay, so where's the queen and where can I get her? But because the leaves are so long and narrow, they don't ship very well. Or like when they do get shipped, sometimes the leaf can get like cut off by the pot right here. Because how are you, I don't know, like how can you send that without that happening? A lot of the times I see that happening with people's plants, but then they put out a new leaf and it's totally fine. So that is an Anthurium that I'm looking for. It's probably the only Anthurium that I'm really searching for at this point, and I'm not interested unless I get a good price. So we will see what happens. Maybe I'll get a trade. I'm not sure. All right, you guys, that is going to be all for this video. I hope that you enjoyed seeing my Anthurium collection and I don't know, just learning more about Anthuriums along with me. If you like this video, don't forget to subscribe and comment down below your favorite Anthurium, or maybe if you have fears of Anthuriums, let's talk about it. You know, I'd love to chat in the comments down below. And I will see you guys in the next one. Bye! I'm sitting on pins and needles. Okay, so the next plant is this Anthurium crystallinum. Nope, my legs have fallen asleep. What a life, just being completely enveloped in Anthurium leaves. Have you guys been playing Animal Crossing? I've considered it. Oh man. That's a life I can get behind.